Okay, guys, so welcome to the first ever episode of the Micky and Woody Show. We've got two great guests on today, two friends of ours who like to introduce. First of all, we've got Paul Wellens, ex-Tellings rugby league player, ex-international, ex-Man of Steel. Welcome, Wello.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers. Thanks for having us.
And we've got Lee Briers, ex-Warrington Wolves, ex-Wales international, ex-Lance Todd, and current Warrington Wolves assistant coach. Looking like Frankie Boyle there, Breezy. How you doing?
All right. Well, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. And my lovely little sidekick here, look at him giggling to himself. We've got Micky. Micky, welcome, mate. First episode for us. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, so we had a bit of a chat about looking to get something going because we thought there was a little bit of a niche in the market for it. You know, certainly over this end. You know, we're both something we're interested in. You know, we've got good friends in the sport and other sports, so I thought, yeah, we could give it a go, and hopefully it'll take off and it'll be good. And we've got two fantastic guests and close friends as well, so it's all the makings of a cracking episode.
Obviously, this is not the situation where we wanted started. Ideally, we would have had our studio ready and have guests, sat face to face with them, but we've had to compromise. We're on a Zoom session. But are you handling the lockdown well?
Yeah, pretty good, mate, to be honest. I think, when you look at the bigger picture, like there's, people in the world at the moment in a lot more difficult predicaments than we are. So, just to stay at home and, spend some time with your family is not too much of a difficult thing to do, isn't it? I suppose like anybody else, there's a little bit of cabin fever every now and again, and certainly miss, being in and around the boys at training and on the field coaching. But that'll all come back in good time. So for the time being, we just kind of, sit around and look for other ways in which you can try and improve yourself, away from rugby.
Breezy, are you handling it, mate? Are you coping all right? I know you like to be busy and you like your golf and getting out the house. So are you finding it being stuck in?
Yeah, it's not been too bad. Like Wello said, well, I'm ready to go and do some new stuff. Obviously, golf's back tomorrow, so from now on, I'll be at the golf course 7 days a week. And do you know what? For 7 weeks, you just find things to do. And I am not by any means a great DIY or my garden, anything like that. But
sorry, Lee, to interrupt. As I can tell,
I painted.
I've just spotted that Sean Richardson measuring up your garden.
AB Sunday, so just give him a shout out.
Oh, what a plug! Derek will love that.
I've been doing my garden. I'm painted benches and me decking, and Sean's just fixing some decking there. But you know what? I'm over it. I'm absolutely over gardening, and I suppose I just don't. No, the missus don't say in 6 months you fancy doing the garden again. I've got no excuse now of it because I did it then.
So what sort of stuff you get looking forward to? Well, Breezy, what sort of stuff? Obviously, once this lockdown's up, there's a bit of an ease up at the minute, but you've just said there, Breezy, you've got your golf to look forward to, but what are you guys looking forward to once it all comes out this?
I think, the long-term goal, the bigger picture is getting back out on the field, and obviously not us personally, but getting the teams back out on the field and playing in front of supporters again. That's what I'm excited about. I think what this opportunity is giving people to do is it's kind of to reflect a little bit on what is important in life, and certainly your family are that, and you spend a lot more time with them. You probably cherish this moment that being able to spend more time with your family. But then on the flip side as well, it makes you appreciate your work and how much passion and love that we have for rugby league. So I think I'm not alone in this. I think players, coaches, supporters, everybody certainly really appreciate what it is we do have in rugby league, and I'm very excited about getting back to it.
Just on that, are you keeping in regular contact with Christian and the staff and players? What's kind of obviously it should be a welfare issue because you're kind of with your family and you're chill, but are you trying to keep in regular contact and make sure the boys are doing bits on their own and stuff? Because
Yeah, we try and cover all bases really in terms of, of what we can do, bound by rules and regulations and things like that. But we have a cracking welfare team, as most clubs do now. So they're in regular contact with the players, just checking on whether they're okay. As coaches, we have the odd discussion. But again, it's not really about this is the way we want to play when we get back, or we're going to do anything different. It's more just touching base. Have the players got any concerns? What can we help you with, if anything? So, as a staff as well, we're in regular contact, again, for those reasons. Very laid back around it at the moment, very relaxed, because I think, although the government do release information, every few days or every week on terms of how things may look, we still aren't really sure on what the time frame is. So it's very hard to plan anything when you don't know how long you've got.
Break up, Lee.
Go on, Lee. Can you just touch on that, Lee, on your side of Warrington? Has he been on beers again?
I've been here for 5 months, mate.
Well, see, I thought you were drinking.
I think I need to start back. It's the same thing. I think the hardest thing is that you've not got that start date. So I suppose, speaking to some of the lads, the first 3 or 4 weeks, they hit training really hard, absolutely smashed themselves because they thought it weren't going to be that long. And then, 7 weeks in now, and you can't have that little lull in between. And so if you're looking at, I don't know, let's say put a figure out there that we're going to start in July. That's, it's probably another 6 weeks. So all in all, you're looking at about 14, 15 weeks of training hard. So it's a weird one. I suppose you've got to have a bit of a rest in the meantime, to freshen the minds up and, look at going, probably having 2 or 3 weeks off now and then building back up, because obviously said that June the 1st is when professional sports can start behind closed doors. So I would envisage, an uneducated guess, it's probably going to be July-ish, middle of July when we're going to get back. So a long period of time to be off with just to train on your own. So you do need to refresh and, get yourself mentally prepared for it as well.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I think it is tough, isn't it? Because you're so used to training with your mates, you become best mates, don't you, really? You've got to have that mate feel. You spend more time than probably your families, and suddenly that just took away from you. And because it's difficult on your own, trying to find a field, and you've got limited resources. Like, I'm sure lads, if they took a bit of equipment from the gym at like the other hours, but it's not the same on your own. There might be 1 or 2 meet on a field, but it's got to be tough for that amount of time trying to keep motivated, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same thing, mate. I think, what we all probably become used to throughout the course of our career was, what to wear, when to wear it, what time you need to be at a certain place, everything, what was catered around, what your programme was delivered. And you can do that to a certain extent now, but you've not got that the camaraderie around you. And I think, that's one thing, when you probably come away from the game like we all have from the playing side of things, that's probably one of the things that you do miss most, I think, about the game. So, players are getting a little idea of probably what that's like for a player to step away from the game.
Do you know what? Sorry, Blake, go on.
I'm speaking. I mentioned that to Kylie Lulu. Obviously, he's our welfare officer, Kylie, and his job should be the easiest when we go back. He should have players coming up to him, asking him what courses they can go on, where they can get education, and because this is a small reality of retirement, and it can end like that. Because we got stopped just like that, and that's how retirement sometimes comes and hits you. And if you've got nothing planned for after when you finish, God, you're in trouble. So he should have players coming up. Paul Johnson at your place. Well, they should be finding people coming up to him every day, saying, "What can I do? How can I do it? Better myself." One.
I think what's hard as well, like putting myself in that situation, when I was playing rugby, sometimes a lot of lads don't actually know what they want to do. So, they're doing courses for the sake of doing them. But I do believe you need to start planning. I mean, my future never went how I designed it to. I did a master's in strength and conditioning and ended up working in sales. So it's a tough one for the lads. I think they need to sit down and, put a programme together of where they want to go once they've retired. But not everybody knows. You know, some people have got to face retirement first, and then probably dip the toes in one or two different industries before they get it. But I do agree, Lee. I don't think there's enough players at the minute doing the courses that are available to them.
What courses do you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I did. So I qualified as a plumber, electrician. I did a personal training course. I did my master's degree in strength and conditioning. The list is endless, but I knew I needed to prepare for after rugby because, you know, it's a big challenge. You know, that takes us nicely into what I wanted to talk about, because relatively all new to, you know, being in what I call the real world. But, you know, how did you guys handle retirement? Because, you know, it is tough. You know, you're saying the lads are getting a bit of a taster, but deep down they know they're going back to rugby in about 6 weeks' time. But how did you guys deal with it?
I think for me, I was quite fortunate. I'm not sure whether Lee was in the same position, but when I came, back 4, 5, 6 years of my career, I always felt that I wanted to go into coaching. So I kind of put the building blocks in place then and did coaching badges and things to kind of get myself set up for that. And given my relationship with the club and the longevity that I had there was always a kind of a leaning towards them taking me on should I fulfil those obligations. So the pressure on that side of things in terms of where are you going to get work wasn't there. I suppose the thing that I had to deal with most was just the simplicity of not being able to play anymore. That probably is harder than you think it's going to be, but I found it a little easier with the fact that I was retired mid-season because I required hip surgery that I couldn't play again afterwards. So, and a lot of people talk about, oh, you'd like to go out on your own terms and play your last game and maybe walk around Old Trafford and all that, but I actually found it mentally easy to deal with the fact that I'd took my body to as far as it could take me. I'd pushed the limits, and somebody sat me down and said, look, enough's enough. It's time to get ready for the next stage of your life. And that was a big weight off my mind at that moment, because and it's probably what I needed to hear, because I was always transfixed on what do I need to do to get fit to play rugby. And then my mindset changed to actually, what do I need to do to get fit so I can live the rest of my life? And once I grasped that, I was in a much better place.
You know, you've just said parallel to me, Paul. You know, I was exactly the same. I started coaching, believe it or not, when I was 20, just around the amateur clubs in St Helens. So I've always tried to get into coaching and keeping into the game and learning different aspects. But coming to the back end of my career, you know, I had the neck injury. So 2013, when I got the injury, he said basically 16 weeks you're out. I thought, you know, good time to jump in with the academy. And so I went down basically off my own back at the academy, did, you know, voluntary work with them. Halfway through that season, Gary Chambers, who was the head coach, he left and went to Swinton. So Danny Fullerton took over, and I then become assistant coach. In the meantime, I started back playing, and then signed another deal to play in 2014 with a 2-year, you know, 2 year after that contract to coach. So the ball had been set, you know, it was rolling, and unfortunately, you know, I played in the grand final 2013, got re-injured myself, and again, you know, so I got the decision that was stuck out my hands, and which was probably the best thing ever. The surgeon said, listen, you can't never play contact sports again, which in a way I didn't mind that anyway. Contact, I didn't like that, as you well know. But it got took out of my hands, which for those guys who don't get it out of their hands and they think they can do it, I suppose that's hard. But once you say, you know, you've got to stop because you might, Micky was frozen just like that. But the reality of it was, you know, I wasn't in that bad of a place because, you know, one bad tackle I could have been, you know, in a wheelchair. So the grand scheme of things, it was fine. Obviously, you miss playing, but you know, the security of that 2 year deal coaching helped me because of the longevity at Warrington, and they looked after me similar to Paul.
Micky, you've gone down the route of the coaching role after rugby, mate. How have you found it? Because you are fresh to retirement, aren't you?
Yeah. I finished the end of the season just gone, and I'll be honest with you, I've struggled with it, to be honest. I'm quite good though at kind of putting things to the back of my head and just cracking on. You know, obviously, for the last few years, I've kind of planned, you know, for life after rugby, because I think I wish I'd done it earlier, but I think you get to a point in life when you've got family and kids and mortgages and bills and etc. When you get that bit older, you've got to realise that you've got to start planning for after, because it's, you know, in working terms, it's relatively a short career. You know, you think us lads have managed to, you know, probably, like I say, longevity, had good careers and long times, but it's put you in good stead. But yeah, so I knew the time coming. I've had a couple of ups and downs in the last few years, especially going back to Lee with the troubles we've had. So it's been a difficult few years, to be honest. But again, last year was a chance, probably on the flip side to these two guys, that, you know, I went out on my terms, being able to play. But again, I knew that my body was telling me it's time to stop. I think you do know when people say that. I kind of never really took it proper, like, you know, it should be all right. But you do know, your body tells you when enough's enough. And so when you pride yourself on being fit and looking after yourself, and you can't train half as much and do as much in games, for me, that was a sign that, you know, it was time to you know, the time had come. But yeah, flipping onto the coaching side, and I've got the S&C role at Lee. Again, it's probably the next best thing to playing, but it's still that rawness for me of not playing yet. I do miss it. Like the first 4 or 5 league games, I was struggling on touchline. You know, running with messages, it were like, you know, I wish I could have a bit more of an influence. But I think that comes with time as well. I'm sure like these two will echo that. I think the longer it goes on, I think the more you get used to it, and you get into your routines and other stuff. But yeah, it's been a tough transition. But you know, again, I'm still enjoying it because I'm around the boys, and we've got some full-time staff and full-time players. So that's helped that we took on a full-time role. It's been tough though, because you kind of straight out of one into the other full on. You know, I had a bit of a transition period last year, but it's been full on this year.
I'll tell you what's great though is that, you know, I think it's fantastic that you guys, you know, you pretty much knew what you wanted to do when you was playing. So, you know, you had your coaching ambition, and it's great that you stayed in the game, because, you know, the amount of experience that you 3 guys have got and, you know, can transition onto. I think the difficult part comes with rugby players is, you know, and you can speak to, you know, the charities, the rugby league curs and the welfare officers, is that when lads don't want to stay in the sport, when they want to make a clean break. I was one of those, you know, I retired from playing, went to Lee, did the S&C for 3 years, thinking this is what I want to do. I've been in sport that long, but it just wasn't what I want to do. And I think that sometimes the trouble comes when guys are like, shit, I need to get into the real world here, but I'm not sure what I want to do. And, you know, so it's great that you guys have, you know, found that path really, and you know, and stayed in the sport. What was the darkest moment for you, Briers, in terms of, you know, retirement, when you got told that suddenly you wouldn't play again?
No, it's a real weird one with me, and because rugby's been my life since 4, like everybody else. And so I suppose the darkest times was I injured it in 2013 grand final, and I knew then. Sorry, I injured it. It's probably 6 weeks before that we played London at Gillingham, and I injured it then, and I knew then that there was something wrong. But I kind of blagged my way through, because I knew that we'd have a good chance of getting to the final, which was stupid to do really, because of the severity of it.
Proper tough though, weren't you? You're proper tough.
But I knew something was wrong, because in that time to the grand final, I lost my full right arm, so I couldn't turn bottle tops. I could just about pass. But I lost my tricep, and you know how much weight I did. I had massive triceps.
I'm just going to say, like, you must have used that excuse for about 15 years. You lost your arm, didn't you?
But that was a good thing, Micky, because I didn't do weights and no tricep. The physio didn't know that it deteriorated. He just thought it was normal. So basically, when we got into the grand final, you know, I tried to make a tackle. Tried being the word. My arms locked like this on Liam Farrell, and I couldn't get up, and they were just locked, and I thought, oh shit, this is not good pan language. I knew then, this is serious. So straight after the game, I said to Sterlo, who's the physio, I said, mate, sorry, I'm going to confess, my neck's bad again. It's shocking. My arm, he said, right. And if you remember, that's the only Mad Monday I missed, I think. I went for a scan on the Monday. I think the darkest time was in this little period then, because this was October, about the 13th, 14th. The surgeon was away till the 5th of November. So I knew that there was something wrong with me, something seriously wrong. But I could only find out a month later. So it was like, you know, that Chinese torture dripping on my head. And I just needed that clarity of what was going on. As soon as I walked into the surgeon, he just said, basically, what you can never play contact sport. I knew in his face, because his face dropped when it's in it. Basically, I had 3 prolapsed discs, were all on my spine. So any worse tackle that could have just sliced my spine. And he said to me though, and then I burst into tears, and he said, listen, Lee, it's not that bad, because you could be sat here paralysed. And that's the toughest time. And I swear to you, I've not missed one game where I've thought, God, I wish I was out there, because I was ready to retire. Yeah, I'd signed another year deal, but like Paul said, my body was goose, you know. Yeah, I couldn't walk for half the time because of my Achilles, but my body was goose, so I was ready to go. And I used that motivation of, you know, if I thought that I could still play, well, I'm not doing these young academy lads to justice. I'm not giving them my full attention. They needed my full attention to go on and progress and them have a career. So I've not missed it once. Not even when we played in the grand finals or the Challenge Cup finals. I've not even missed it. So I was ready to go.
Well, just on that, because you won the grand final in 2014 with St Helens, how comes you didn't make that your swan song from there?
Yeah, well, I always felt I had another 12 months in me, and I'd spoke because Kieran Cunningham had just took over, and we'd had a conversation, and it was going to be less playing time. It was going to be, you know, my experience and my leadership in and around the group, you know, that type of thing. So I knew I was set for maybe 15, 20 games a year, and I was kind of initially okay with that. But then when the season starts and you're not playing, you go, oh, now I want to play. That competitive element doesn't go. So I think I played 4 or 5 games at the start of 2015. Played like 3 or 4 on the run, and then I missed the week before we played Wigan on Good Friday because I needed to be right for Wigan on Good Friday. So they decided to rest me the week before. And in that game, which was my final game, I literally could hardly walk. My hip seized up like it had a tendency to do. And I was walking, I was just hobbling around the field, just thinking, well, what are you doing? It's embarrassing. So after about 42 minutes, just after half time, I remember walking back onto the field, and Matty Smith, who he was one of my good mates, he was playing for Wigan at the time, he was just laughing at me going, what are you even doing out here? And that kind of hit home to me a little bit. So he then targeted me, put a little kick in along the floor around the back. So I jumped on the ball, played the ball, and just walked off the back of the field. And I think then in my heart of hearts, as I walked off the back, I thought that could be me done here, because my injury was showing no signs of improvement. And you know what, in the subsequent years, I always struggled with that, always playing. And you know what helped me, buddy, is a game that we all played in. It was when we had that Yorkshire Lancashire Legends game, and we both played in it. And as you probably were at the time, I was on the field, and it's for a great cause, and behind all that, but I'm absolutely hating every minute of it, because I'm on a rugby field and I can't do what I used to be able to do. And I came home that night, and I'm sat with my missus and I'm having a glass of wine, and I'm like, I was distraught, I was gutted, because I was on a rugby field and I couldn't deliver what I used to be able to deliver. And I thought to myself, you can't put yourself in that situation again. One, because physically you're leaving yourself pretty open to an injury, although because Mick wasn't in the best condition anyway. I've had a hip resurfacing and done. And secondly, from a mental point of view, I didn't want to feel like I'd let people down, even though it was a stupid feeling to have. I was on a rugby field and I couldn't do what I did, and it just killed me.
But you still played better than me, well, also, and I could do everything. So
I don't know about that, mate. I was looking for every opportunity to get off that field.
We was lined up on a scrum in defence, and we both looked at each other, me and Wello went, and we was like, we could both understand what we're both thinking. Who's the furthest away from that tackle? It was like,
I'll tell you
Now
what,
now you know what it's like to play with Briers, because he was like that when he played.
All he kept saying was, "Come inside me, get inside me."
Tell you what though, he still showed. I've seen some highlights of the game. He still shows some classy touches though. You know, like yourselves and Gleeson and the other players that played. It's still great to see. And say it never leaves in that respect. But like I say, you know when it's time, don't you? You know you're ready to.
It's a bit like the footballers, the soccer players with the five-a-side masters. Like that, football's a game which you can do a fair bit of that in because there's not the physicality, and they say they still have the first touch. They can knock a ball around. They can look silky as anything, but nobody wants someone coming through the back of them, clattering them, and same in rugby, really.
We played in a union game, didn't we, Wello?
Yeah, that was awful.
Oh, honestly, they said it was like one of these like just fun games, mate. They had South Africans, were about 6 foot. Like Sean Richardson, all them played, mate. I think Eddie Gardner got knocked out. Longy dislocated his shoulder. Least tore his hamstring. Tommy Martin thought he broke his arm. Mental.
Eddie Gardner tried to tackle a 6'6" Cameroon international. Like, he was one of the funniest things in life.
It was bonkers, wasn't it, that?
Do you know what, though? Sorry, just going on from that, what Micky said there, he makes a good point because obviously playing in that game and then speaking to the spectators after, everybody buzzing that they've seen Lee Briers, Paul Wellens, Sean Long playing, Scully, all the rugby league greats, but it gets brought up quite a lot now. And you guys are watching rugby every week, and I want to hear your opinion, but do you think the game is not as skilled? Is it not as, I won't say are the players not as skillful, but do we not see that natural ability anymore? Is it getting coached out of the game in some respects?
I wouldn't say being coached out, but what I would say is, like, I think people are naturally becoming fitter, faster, stronger. So it could be a tendency to, that's your first go-to in terms of you're big, strong and athletic, which a lot of players are now. That could be your first protocol. And I think this last 5-6 weeks, on social media, there's been reruns of so many old games. And it's vivid as anything now when you watch them, how much the game has changed.
Yeah.
Now, for the better, for the worse, that's other people's arguments, aren't they? But the game has changed. Even in and around the ruck and the tackle, like people talk now to get bodies in front and take them to ground slowly. Like the game, like 15, 16 years, you was just tackling them to the floor, getting off, and they were just playing the ball. It's just so different, and the game has changed dramatically in that period. And I do think players are bigger now. I think players are stronger and more athletic. There's no doubt about it.
Well, going back to them cup reruns, or watch a couple of the old Challenge Cup ones. Some great players on display, but you look at the defensive lines and the defensive structures, and a lot of it comes down to the fitness levels, really. One player couldn't keep up with another. And generally, the natural, well, not naturally fit, but the players who worked hard and who were fit, the legends of the game today, they were a bit before the time. So your Ellery Hanleys, your Mike Gregory's, them types of players, Sean Edwards, the fitter they were, I think the better they were, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I agree. And probably what you're seeing now across the board is, a game-wide level of fitness. There's a change in culture and change in environment. We grew up in the old school system of, we train really hard, we ripped in, but we'd also have a beer on the weekend, most weekends. That doesn't happen as much now. But that's just like, not that we would have said we were professional. We were professional. We just lived in a different era. But now there's a game-wide fitness level, a certain standard that you need to get to. And if you're not in and around that standard, you're not on the field. You just don't compete. Whereas probably back then you had certain players on the field who probably didn't belong there.
Going back to your skill and stuff, the skill level's probably the same. But what we've probably got is we all learned to play rugby. Well, yeah, definitely Micky's the oldest, he's about 50, Micky. So we all learned to play rugby on a school field, on a park field and whatnot. We didn't do chip and chases and training and stuff like that. We did that on a little field, and all that kind of stuff. We did hours and hours of it after school and whatnot. If you look you look at kids now. You know, if they train Tuesday and they train Thursday, that's an hour, 2 hours. If they're at scholarship on a Wednesday, it's another 2 hours. So 4 hours. Let's say they train 4 hours. Rest of the time, the people on Xboxes and whatnot. Whereas we do 4 hours in one day after school. Finish school at 4 o'clock. You've probably done half an hour on a dinner time. Finish school 3, 4 o'clock. Go out till 8 o'clock. And do that every day. You know, you're building up to about 35, 36 hours a week. So you're getting that, that natural footballer.
Yeah.
Because he's learning that on the field. We play on De La Salle against each other. You know, we have a little team against a little team, or you just play one-on-one, and that's where you get all that natural skill from.
So are the professional teams doing that in training now, or do you know what I mean? If that's where you're saying you learn that natural skill, a team's employing that into the professional environments?
It's very hard to do that because obviously it's a structured training session, and you only get them for a limited amount of time. So like I said, you don't learn that. I didn't learn that when I played at Crusaders, St. Helens Crusaders. I learned it on the field on my own against my mates, and that's where you get all that kind of knowledge about the game, the intricacies of it, and let's hope it comes back around. But we live in the generation of the Xbox.
I think when Tony Smith come to Warrington, I don't know if you'll back me up on this, I thought he encouraged us to play with more skill, didn't he? I think he really developed to like Ryan Atkins, for instance. I think Ryan was a strong carrier, but he'll probably tell himself he didn't have the greatest answer to start. But because I remember some sessions where we were with Tony drawing past Flicky, he said, just keep trying it, there were errors, because we used to make a lot of errors in training, and I think even the year we won it, league leaders, I think we were the team with most errors, but we backed ourselves in defence. But for as many errors as we made, we scored some scintillating tries and all with good skills. So I think, whether defences are better now, and you're more with your wrestle, it's slowing you play the ball down a little bit, so it takes away that as much space. I don't know, but certainly I thought Tony was pretty good with us in some of the years I was there with certainly encouraging skill.
Yeah, well, his big thing, Tony, was make mistakes in training.
Yeah.
The only way you learn is by making mistakes. If you're going to make mistakes, make them at training.
Yeah, I think. When I speak to my lad now, he's upstairs on his Xbox as we speak, and he thinks I'm lying when I say I played rugby for my school team on a Wednesday, trained for my town team on a Thursday, played on a Saturday for town team, then I played on a Sunday, and then I was training for my amateur club as well. So probably about 5 or 6 days through the week, it was rugby. But now there's not. That's all gone now. We was constantly embedded in rugby league, whether it was training for your amateur club or whoever you was representing. And then if we wasn't doing that, then we was on a field with a rugby ball as well. So I think, it's got a lot to answer for at the moment, I think, the gaming world, in terms of, I keep telling my lad he wants to be like Blake Austin. I said, you're not going to get like Blake Austin playing PS4 or Xbox Rugby League. You've got to get out on a field and do it.
You've changed, you. It would have been me a couple of days ago.
Just on the back of that, Lee, obviously Reese is at Warrington, is he on so he's still on the scholarship and stuff. How's he been doing? Has he been training on his own, or is he kind of getting into bad habits or what?
Yeah, so Reese is up into the academy now. Yeah, so nice. He's we've got a little set up in the back garden of weights and whatnot. So he's training quite hard. I train with him when we do the easy ones, but it's tough. Again, he's upstairs in his bedroom. He's a quiet kid, really, so he don't go out anywhere. So he spends time in his bedroom, whether we're in lockdown or not. He's on Netflix and on his Xbox, and he eats, trains, and stays in his bedroom. So but again, he's a young kid. He's professional, but he's the Xbox world. We trained the other day, and he's doing a fitness thing on the field, and he's moaning a touch, and me being me, I'm screaming at him. You don't moan when you're on your Xbox and stuff, but
where does he get that from, do you think, Lee?
What's that? Being hard, tough.
Moaning during fitness.
Tougher from his mum's side.
Well, do you struggle with the generation thing now then? Do you see it like as, oh, this is the younger generation, the millennial coming through that you think a little bit softer than we was when we were younger?
I think you take it for what it is. Like they're in this generation through no fault of their own. You're born when you're born, and you're in the environment that you're in, and you can't help that. That's not so. That's what young kids do with this generation. You know, they like to, they're involved in the sports and they have their hobbies, but they also like the gaming side of things. I suppose it's like going back, 20 years and telling us not to watch a TV. You wouldn't want to not watch a TV. You know what I mean? So we had different interests, different things going on. Probably back in Briers' day, it's the wireless. You don't listen to the wireless.
Black and white telly.
Yeah.
Well, it just split where we live. Wello lived on the posh stand and I was councillor there.
We went rival schools, me and Briers. It's a generation thing, and I think we can probably perhaps be too harsh and too down on the kids of these days. I think generally certainly the kids that we have coming through at Saints, and you see them in the local amateur clubs, they have a passion for the game. They enjoy it, they go and watch the teams, they enjoy the training. They just don't do it as regularly as we did through different circumstances. So I suppose it's for us as coaches and parents or whatever to try and guide them as best as you can without forcing them to be us of 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Micky, I'll let you speak. Come on.
Yeah, I'll say I've tried to push my two boys. I think the first couple of weeks in lockdown, when the weather was nice, they were out, because I've been doing a few sessions for my gym, on Facebook Live. So members have got.
What gym is that, Micky?
Pardon?
What gym is that?
Oh, it's Try Fitness.
Oh, right.
Lee, sorry, I never mentioned that. So yeah, the first couple of weeks they were joining in with me and training, and again as the weeks had just got on, they're in the bedroom all the time. To be fair, Harry's been for a few runs because he's at that age where I'm trying to say, listen, if you want to, you're growing up, you need to be honest with you, Harry needs to get some frustration out of his system, because his testosterone's are everywhere. He's ready to like trash the house up. So he gets kicked out a few times, so he asks for a run. But no, it's that different generation, isn't it? We just had basic computers and stuff when we were younger, and like you say, always had a ball in our hand when we were kids, and it's times have changed. But just on that, I said different generation. Well, I think Woody? Was it Alex Walmsley put something on social media about when it's time for Sunday sups, he's back on it. He's on his knees like that. I bet you're missing your Sunday sups, aren't you?
Not too bad, mate. Yeah, the old Greenhall Social Club across the road. Bob in there for a few pints. Briers knows it well, don't you, lad?
I said to my mate the other day, I said, bet you can't wait to wear the quote. It's your round, get him in. That's all he said, Micky.
I've never heard that one.
Oh.
No, what you're saying there as well, mate, about obviously parenting, coaching, what have you. And I suppose we've all been in this position. And Briers, you were talking before about the skill and the off-the-cuff kind of unstructured thing that I think one of the first coaching lessons I really got was not expecting, because we've all been had long careers and played in big games, and I had an over expectation on young players to be able to see and do the stuff that I did, that I'd built up over 15 to 20 years of playing. And probably one of the harshest lessons I got in coaching early on was to not expect too much, for them to take baby steps, because to use you as an example, Briers, there's real top scrum halves who've played the game for 10 years who could go onto a rugby field and still not see the things that you could see. That an innate ability to just be off the cuff and come up with something that was there. So again, it was a really important coaching lesson for me, is to not expect them to do the stuff that I used to be able to do, because we're all different and they may get there, but they've got to take the same steps that I took. So it taught me real patience around coaching, particularly with the younger players.
I suppose as a coach as well, though, I suppose you've got to be careful of not trying to make a player play or you player as well, because they've got different talents. So, you know, like, I suppose for you, Lee, you know, you're certainly the most talented player I played with in terms of instinctive, and, you know, once I'd showed you it pass from left to right, you was a world beater. But, you know, that instinctiveness that you had, and like you say, you developed through the streets. I suppose, you know, some players, you know, are not that type of player, and they've got other attributes. So, you know, you're trying to coach those as well, and it might not necessarily be something you was good at.
Yeah, for sure. And then you've got to, the challenge is trying to communicate the best way you can to make sure they can see that. Sometimes they can't in a way that you do. I had the same lesson what Paul said there, you know, don't expect people to do what you can do all the time, you know. It's a great lesson to learn, and, you know, at the start of my career with the academy lads, that was certainly the case. Even going back to my amateur, even going further back in developments into my amateur, thinking that they could. So I got that very early on. It's a really great tip, that one. But you're right. The art of coaching is, you know, the man management side of it. You know, how do you get your message across? Do they understand it correctly? You know, because not everybody thinks the same. Different people learn different ways. I learn visually. Some people don't. You know, so it's an all array of things.
So is that what you're finding as a coach now, where, you know, you're saying you've learned visually? I was exactly the same. Some players want a tip sheet and they want to read it to take the game planning. Some have got to talk it. So how do you recognise that as a coach?
Well, it's getting to know the players, isn't it? It's getting to know what you're working with, and you're 1,000,000% right. You know, some people like quite a bit of video. Some people don't. Some people, you know, don't like a tip sheet early on in the week. They like it last minute. You know, just because I was one of those who loved to watch video from Monday to game day, and as much as I could, because I thought that was the best way to understand the opposition, doesn't work for other people. So you can't expect them to do that. You know, I used to love the tip sheet, you know, keep it with me every minute of the day, you know, and look at it. You know, if I went to the toilet, go and spend 10 minutes with it. Some people don't do that. So you've got to know your player, understand your player, and then work out what's best for them.
It's a good point, that, isn't it? Because, like, it's something that we've got a bugbear in me is, like, when we used to have a tip sheet, you get it given to you, take it away, and I'd come back and sit to the team room after training, an hour and a half after, and there's 4 tip sheets on the table. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, are they just generally forgot, or you know, it just shows that they probably don't have a tip sheet. You know, it's just frustrating me at times, or little things like just take the tip sheet with you. But like you said, for some people, it's not about the tip sheet. You know, whether they're prepared in their head, they know what they're doing. It's everybody's different, and it's finding that balance with players, isn't it? And
yeah, everybody's different, aren't they? You know,
yeah.
30-man squad.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why we coach. That is the challenge to get everybody, hopefully by come Sunday, that we're all singing off the same hymn sheet. That's a great challenge in itself. Half the time you worked on our hymn sheet, Micky, because you kept going the other way. You knew I should get the ball when I asked for it.
Well, that's why you probably played a lot of your best rugby later in your career. When I come to Warrington, to be honest, because like, you know what they say, it starts at the play the ball, Lee, and like catching passes there, and you're not used to it. We'll not go into that anyway.
I used to love it when he used to go the other way, and I used to scream at it.
Oh yeah, I know.
And he used to turn around, angry man syndrome.
and then I'd say sorry when we packed down at next scrum, then I
just walk off laughing, just mid-game.
Oh, brilliant.
Do you, when you're coaching as well, say like with you Paul and Lee, do you find it hard sometimes, like when you get some players who are a bit troublesome and, you know, they're not, you think, fucking hell, I can't really say much here because he's just like me.
Can you swear?
Swear? You can do what you want, Sonny. It's nice.
Yeah, I don't mind a few swear words.
But do you ever do that where you sort of, you know, it's hard sometimes because, like you say, you can expect too much from the players, and then all of a sudden you can go away from a situation. This is what I found when I was coaching at Lee, is that you can walk away from a situation and go, do you know what? I've done it myself. You know, I've done it myself, and it's, you know, you've got to put things into perspective. Like you said, not expect too much from players.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there, Woody. One thing that I try and do, because we're still all pretty fresh out the game, like 5 years nearly since I last played professionally, but you still like to think you're not, you know, too out of touch with the modern day player. And quite often what I always do when I'm reflecting on things, certainly the coaching session or whatever, is I try and put myself in the player's shoes and kind of assess me from their point of view and assess the session from their point of view. To get an understanding, you know, was a clearer message, like Briers you mentioned before. Have the players gone onto the training field and come off the training field in a better frame of mind, having a clear understanding on what we've delivered? You know, I feel it benefits me by putting myself in the players' shoes and getting feedback off them as well. You know, to see where we can improve it next time.
Yeah, I'll go with that because I kind of like. I think in my short experience at the moment, I think all I want to ask for is probably like as long as you can give 100% effort in it. You know, in every session, as long as you're applying yourself best you can. You know, you're going to make mistakes. Everybody's not naturally got the ability of other people. Some have got to work harder at that. Another, but I think it's, you know, generally you've got a bunch of lads that all work hard and give the best. And yeah, you do. You get off days, don't you? You get days where you're not feeling it, and you.
Do you think, Micky? You know, like we was on about before, obviously about like the plays and the skill side of the things, but like I would say, you know, going back, certainly when we were starting out, we had play. You know, for example, in your area, the S&C, the weight side of things, like I wasn't a big lover of weights. I did it because it was a necessity. Well, Briers, you said you wasn't a big, massive fan of weights. You did it when you feel you need to. It wasn't a necessity. Do we still have those types of players, Micky, or is it generally across the board people who love that type of thing? Because you have to learn to manage those types of characters as well. You're not going to get 400% quality weight sessions out of them a week.
No, there still is a few around. I think there's not as many potentially from years ago. Because I don't know, that there seems to be a bit more, like you said, I think there is a lot more focus now on your weights and your fitness and your agility and stuff, and you know, a bit more science has come into it now. You know, it's kind of, I think that's playing a lot more of a vital role, and I probably more so like, say pre-season when you do most of your stuff, I think Duff's certainly this year for me put a lot of onus on me in the months leading up to season, where a lot of pressure on me, and I found it tough, to be honest. It was hard, but yeah, there is some that still like just doing enough. But yeah, to be fair, from my experience, I've got a good hard working bunch, to be honest. They've all trained hard, and it was one thing we tried to push this year from last year. We're like, I think at a certain point the season before where we done the weights, and it was like, I could see lads. Plus, it was difficult because it was part time 2 years ago as well. So that was a bit of an eye opener for me. That, don't forget, some lads have been on a building site all day, so it was tough, you know, trying to expect, you know, lifting heavy and stuff. So I kind of took that into account. But I think the emphasis we had this year was like probably challenge each other in the gym, as well as whether it be in a game, a sided game, or, you know, come game day. I think we've tried to just push, just have more battles. Obviously not to a point where you're pinning each other up against the wall, but like if you partner up with your training partner, just try and push your mates in the gym as well, because I think for us it was just about getting this edge over everybody else, certainly in our league this year.
Guys, just moving on before we finish up, but we'll talk about football season as well, because obviously, you're a publicly big Man City fan. You love tweeting about Man City. Breezy, you're a big Liverpool fan, even though you never go watching them. At least goes. What about this season? Go on, what are you going to say?
Finish off.
No, I was just going to say, what's going to happen this season now with this football? Because Liverpool not won the Premiership title since the Premiership started. If it carries on, is it going to be a big laughing stock or what? What are you going to think of it, or as a City fan?
Oh, look, I think like if you assessed it from a performance point of view, you know, the team's 25 points clear. So you'd be hard to begrudge them the opportunity to lift the title. However,
this is what we want to hear.
However being the key word, yeah.
No, I think they'll make every effort to try and get the season finished. I think they probably got the finances in terms of being able to test all the players, test the staff that need to be tested. I think the only probably stumbling block is actually the players themselves in terms of, look, let's make no mistake, this is a pretty serious thing that's happening at the moment, and thousands of people have lost their lives up and down the country. So with that brings some anxiety and some fear for anybody. So, you know, if we're going to expect players of any sport to step foot back in that environment, then there've got to be certain assurances, and I think that's what they'll be geared towards. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to see the season finished, if I'm honest, because, you know, I think it's probably what the teams deserved. And no, let's not forget, Man City have got a chance of, you know, winning an FA Cup as well, and going for a Champions League, so there could be a treble in the offering there as well.
Do you think they'll just concentrate on the Premier League first before anything? Do you think they'll try, or do you think they'll try and get all the cups and domestic cup, European as well?
I would imagine that the Premier League will be the priority
Yeah.
for a start off. Yeah, I would see. But then again, if you're playing games behind closed doors and you've established that things are safe, then why not look at the opportunity to finish the other competitions as well? Yeah. But again, time's going to be of the essence there, isn't it? Because you know, as the weeks pass by, there's going to be less and less opportunity, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing. But you know, who knows?
Go on, Lee.
May I go with it? No, you've got to. I've got to, you know, agree with Paul. You know, there's bigger, far worse things what's happening in the world at the moment in the Premier League. It'd be really good to win it, obviously, but you know, it's got to be safe on it. At the end of the day, it's got to be safe. I reckon it will come back. But first and foremost, it's got to be safe for everybody. And you know, the government put out the 1st of June we can start playing behind closed doors. If it wasn't safe, they can't have made that comment. You know, they would have been liable. So now it's up to the people that are far cleverer than me to make decisions. But I hope it gets up and running soon, because that means if they're getting up and running, well, Super League can't be that far behind. So we're all back then, aren't we?
Yeah, I was just going to say, obviously we're going kind of back on rugby a little bit. Have you any thoughts about when you will be up and running? Have you heard anything, or is it still obviously?
Like, all I hear that obviously discussions are taking place with Super League, between the RFL, options that may be available. But again, you can't really. There's no concrete, we are doing this on this date or doing this on that date. Yeah. It's like looking at different scenarios. If we were to get back at such a time, how will it look? So it's all hearsay and conjecture at the moment. So that's why you're very reluctant to pass on any information to players, because what might be sort of the thought process today or next week might completely change in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
I suppose that 1st of June to give us a massive, you know, indication that we could be back, you know, any time from 1st of June till whenever. It's just, you know, like you can change every day. But going back to your question, I do go to Liverpool, Paul.
You don't?
I do. Do you know how easy it is to get a ticket at Man City?
the empty ad, they call it, don't they? Well, I'm not a football fan, but my lad's a City fan, so I do take him sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like I have said, mate, nobody ever kicks a dead dog. So, you know, if people's poking fun at you, you're usually doing something right.
Is there plenty banter over this football, though? Because one thing I've found in rugby is the lads love the football, and there's some good banter going on. So obviously with this Liverpool scenario now, because let's be honest, I like watching Liverpool, a very skillful team. Don't know a lot about football, but I can watch it when Liverpool are on. And if they don't get it this season, it's going to be a catastrophe for them, isn't it? Because they've been so close a few times now.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Briers.
It's just unprecedented, isn't it? It's madness, absolute madness.
They've got to award it to him if the season doesn't finish, haven't they? Sure.
Yeah, well, he'll finish. Come on, let me finish. Let's be positive. We'll just win it next year instead as well.
They probably will.
Yeah.
Going on the season as well. Not looking. Sonny Bill Williams doesn't look like he's going to be playing anytime soon. In the story that's in the paper today, that he's going to offer Mike Tyson £1 million to fight him. There's 3 prospects. There's Sonny Bill Williams, there's Paul Gallen, and Barry Hall, who are up to fight Mike Tyson. He's 53 now. He's come out of retirement. He's announced that on social media.
Yeah, he's turned them down, hasn't he?
Toronto said that they're backing Sonny Bill Williams and they're going to let him fight if he wants to.
Yeah, Tyson said he's not going to go.
He's not?
No, it's come out today that he might be fighting Evander Holyfield again.
All right. So that's just a bit of a made publicity story, is it?
You've just made that up for your podcast.
Breaking news, though.
Let's roll with it. Let's roll with it.
Did you see obviously the footage of Mike Tyson and the mitts on social media? Like, he looks an animal still, doesn't he?
Just wait, though.
A 10-second clip's different than 3 12-minute rounds, though, isn't it, I suppose?
I've been getting resock pads.
Breezy, you used to be that size.
I'm not far off that now, would I?
Reece told me he offered to wear that. You asked would he wear that for you, and he said I'll be all right without it.
Yeah, definitely.
Guys, I think that brings us nicely to an end. But thank you for coming on our first episode. I think it's been a good insight, especially into the coaching philosophy of you guys, and really appreciate it. And we wish you all the best when the season does finally kick off. Micky?
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on, fellas. It's 2 special guests really started us off, and again, time flies when we just get chatting and fun, and that's what we want our podcast to be about, really, just really relaxed, even just go off and, kind of go off, not a real schedule there, just kind of a couple of topics and we go on that and get chatting away, which is, what I think is what we aim for, isn't it? And I've really enjoyed it, having a fantastic hour, and thanks again. It's been brilliant of you.
Hour? Felt like 2 hours, that.
Well, I'll tell you what as well, I mean, we do look a bit scruffy now, but we've been speaking to 1895, who's Mike Cooper, professional rugby league player for Warrington Wolves, who's going to supply us with some T-shirts and hoodies and gear, so when we're on the podcast, we'll look a bit presentable. We're also looking for sponsors, so any local businesses or internet businesses that want to get involved with us, feel free to inbox us or drop us an email. All the details will be on after the video. But yeah, thanks very much, guys. It is much appreciated, and wish you all the best for the season.
That's a pleasure, mate. It's a great thing you're doing, so glad to be a part of it.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, fellas. Much appreciated.
All the best, chaps.